Hello student, welcome once again. Here is Rajesh YouTube channels as we are studying about the statistics. In statistics, different types of the terms we are describing here in our YouTube channels. Now today we will discuss about the another terms. First of all, we will try to give the example of the exclusive form of the limits and inclusive form of the limits. So here is the exclusive form of the inclusive form inclusives and exclusive. So exclusive form of the limits we will discuss here. So suppose that here is the example of exclusive form of the limits. Okay, exclusive form of the limits. We will make the diagram here so that we can understood its exclusive form of the limits. Make the two. Here is the tables. Make the tables, and in which class intervals we will write here. Class intervals. First marks, right here marks class intervals. Okay, here is the marks class intervals and number of the students frequency. Number of the student frequency distributions. Number of the student frequency distributions. Number of the student frequency distributions. Frequency distributions we will write here 10, 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40. These are the 30 to 40 and 40 to 50, 40 to 50. Here we have written here, so class intervals 9, 11, 5, 4, 9, 11, 5, 4, 9, 11, 5, 4, 9, 11, 5, 4, 9, 11, 5, 4 and 4 again. So we will write here and these are the frequency distributions we have done here. So and right here, so these are the exclusive form of the frequency. Now we will discuss about the inclusive form of the frequency. Inclusive form. So here again, so we will write here inclusive forms. Again make the two tables. Again right here right here again here right. So we will say inclusive form of the frequency. We will write here marks class intervals. Right here same as we have written here marks class intervals and number of the student. Number of the student. Okay, number of the students. Here we will write here number of the students. So we will write here 0 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 30, 31 to 40, 41 to 50 and for this one things we will write here marks of tens. Frequency will be just like that. We have 7, 10, 6, 4, 3, 7, 10, 6, 7, 10, 6, 4, 3, 4 and 3. These are the frequency. These are the frequency distributions, and then after we will discuss here. So after frequency distributions frequency distributions we will again so discuss about the new terms associated with the some definitions. New terms, some definitions we will define here. Some definitions. Some definitions here is the we will discuss about the some definitions. Some definitions right here. So first definitions is the variate or variables. First is here variate or variable. Variate or variable. Variate or variable. Variable. What is variable or variates? So we will discuss here the variate or variables. A character which is capable of taking a character which is capable of taking several different taking several different value called variate or variable. Okay, example, if say we will discuss here, say example, for example point of view, we will discuss here what is the variate or variables. Suppose that in a survey, a worker of a factory, suppose that in a survey, a worker of a factory have worker of the factory working worker of the factory have a working worker of the factory have a working worker of the factory have working and a record their salary is and sex. So here salary and age are quantitative and a sex either male or female would be qualitative form of variables. So here we have some qualitative form of variables. So qualitative variables we will discuss here. So here is the another class interval. We will discuss another terminology, class intervals. So class intervals, in a class intervals we will discuss here each groups in which the raw data is condensed. Raw data is condensed, called class intervals. Called class intervals. Each class bounded by figures and each class bounded by figure called limits. So it would be upper limit and lower limit. It would be upper limits and lower limits. Got it? Class intervals upper bounded by figures, which is called class limits. The figure of left side is lower and right is upper. So two class here, left is lowers and right is uppers. How we will define the class limits? Class bounded are true upper and true lower limits. Third here is class bounded. Okay, class boundary are lower limit and upper limit. Upper limits. Class boundaries are lower limits or upper limits. How will class bounded upper limits are lower limits? So we will define first what is lower limit. How we will define the first lower limits? Lower limits are formed by subtracting 0.5s from the figure. Okay, and second, by adding 0.5s in the right side of limits form upper limit. These are the upper limits and the lower limits we have written here. Now we will discuss about the others. Some for examples, if we are upper limits and the lower limits. For examples, 11 to 20 examples. Example 11 to 20. 11 to 20. 11 to 20. True limits is given here. 11 to 20. Upper example is given here. Here is the example given here. So I have written here in a table forms. 20 figure is given here. Figures here is given here, and the class intervals and the marks of the student is given here. Limits, true limits and upper limits, which has here is the upper and the lower limits is given here, and the true upper limits will be 20. We true lower limit is 10.5. Lower limit would be 10.5, and upper limits will be 20.5. So 10.5 say here 9 10.5, and the lower limit would be 20.5. Sorry, upper limits, and upper limit is 20.5. So here is we have added in the left side and right side we have subtracted. So 10.5, so we have got it from the upper limits, and the lower limits we will 10.5. Okay, so here so we have to decide the class intervals and the class limits. Now further so we will discuss about the class size. Fourth example, here is the class size. Here is the fourth term. So what is class size? Different between the upper and the lower limits of the class. Okay, of the class are called class size. Okay, class size. Here is the class marks are of a class. We will discuss here. Fifth point, class marks of the class. Class marks of the class. So it always be upper limit plus lower limit by 2. Always be equal to upper limits plus lower limits divided by 2. It will be the class marks, and these are the formula of class marks. Okay, so here is the class marks we have discussed here. So now we will discuss about the range. Sixth is range. What is the range? The different between the maximum value and minimum value. Maximum value and the minimum value of the variable. Okay, of the variable called range. range. So here is the difference between the maximum value and the minimum value of the variable is called range. These are the terms related to that one things, and now we will discuss another times. We will start here. So how we will make the method of the method of the arranging data, and how calculations associated with the data, and also forming classes of the data. So we will discuss in another channels. Sorry, same channels, but another times. Here we have done a lot. Thank you very much for coming on channels. Once again, I am giving one more welcomes. I hope that you will you will certainly take the knowledge about this one channels, and gain the more and more important points, so that will be a very applicable for yours examination and coming examinations. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, bye bye.